Hello audience, today we are looking at Civ 5 cities design. Because every time I search, I'm doing this because no one else is doing it. Every time I search up Civ 5 cities, it gives me guides on how to manage Civ 5 cities when really I want the models. So today we're just showing off the models. So if we start here, this is the ancient era, and most America's part of Europe. There's like different cultures that the game pulls from, or groups civs to. America's part of the European culture in spite of the fact that it's in North America. So we get the European city style design here. And this is the ancient era, so the city style will be ancient. And you know, let's just pretend like we were doing stuff here. There you go. So you can sort of get an idea for what the cities look like. Now, the city models themselves don't change if you add things like monuments to them. They don't gain any new buildings, but they will change if you add a world wonder to them. As you can see, if you add the Colosseum will be added here. They also change based on how much population you have. So it seems like every 2 population, the game grows a little bit. My God, you can get this shit to be absolutely massive. My Christ, I don't remember it being like this. It seems to stop after 17. 17 seems to be the limit. And so this is what the cities look like at the most base level. I can't turn anything else off. I think there's a way to get like a screenshot mode, but I don't remember what button it is. Certain civs will have the same culture. So I'm doing this in hot seat mode because this is the easiest way to show it off, by the way. Such as America and England are both European civs. So if I go here into England and they settle a city, you'll see that it looks the exact same because they're part of the same culture in game, and so they will have the same city design. Now, a slight funny thing about this is that it'll also affect civs that it doesn't make any sense to affect. Like Spain, in the ancient era at the very least, looks very much like a European city rather than a Spanish city. I'm pretty sure Spanish cities have a lot of brick roofs on them, don't they? Who knows? Maybe it's different in the ancient era. This is not the case, however, for Greece, which do have a different city design. This is the second city design we're going to be seeing today. And I might as well just pretty this place up so that you can get an idea for it. So as you can see, this is the sort of city style that I would expect Spain to have, but I guess Greece has it, which isn't a big deal. I think this is, I don't remember which culture this is supposed to be representing. It's not European. I think it's, I don't know. I can't remember the fucking specific name for it. Hold on. Yeah, I can't find it. The internet is worthless once again. But basically, again, it pulls from a different culture. And I guess this one is just Europe too, because the internet can't be fucked in telling me what it actually is supposed to be. I've always represented Civ as these being massive cities, and each small tile being smaller cities. Like each farm tile is a tiny city. That's how I've always seen it. But my God. Now I believe that Asia does have its own version. Yes, Asia has its own city design, although I don't think there's a distinction between Japan and China, and so you get this weird mix of the two, I think. I don't know. Is that more Chinese? I think it's more Chinese. I've always been confused by the Asian ones because their design is very like red and grayish. It should also be noted that, first of all, let's just boost this size up so we can get a better view at it. That each civ in the culture that they represent has a different soundtrack that the game pulls from too. The only ones I could find were America, Europe, and Asia. So those are the only 3 ones I could find. I don't know if there's more in the game files. I think there's more building styles than soundtrack styles. Here's a new one. I think, is it supposed to be considered African or Middle East or Eastern? Is there a difference in the game files for that? I'm actually not sure. So if you're wondering what an average city would look like, it would look a little bit like this. I love going into the game and finding these little details because there's no reason to make it look very different or to have different building designs, but they do, and I appreciate it. Now, from what I know, Pedro is considered to be American, so I think this is the American design, as in the Americas, not America as in the United States of America. So they choose the America design, like Native Americans, which makes sense because Brazil was originally native. And then the Portuguese came and made it a colony, and then the Portuguese came again and made it an empire, and then the Portuguese left, but left one of their children in charge, which made Pedro II, which was one of the best monarchs to ever live. Let's just say that. Here's what your average city would look like. I remember basing off one of my Minecraft builds on this fucking thing right here. I actually did base it off of that. If anyone even still remembers that video, it's probably like ancient now. No one probably remembers that. The city styles will also change depending on the era. So for European cities like this is what it looks like in the ancient era. But if I were to go ahead and give us some text, god damn it, I fucking clicked out of it. There you go. Now we're in the classical era. I think the game does need a rollover for this to change still, so we'll just go through and wait. So I think a slight amount of change took place as the era rolled over. I'm not seeing a lot of it, but I think the buildings just got taller is the main difference here, which makes sense. Makes sense. The buildings did get taller over time. Actually, now that I think about it, I think the building design only changes every second era. So I don't think why is it so low resolution? It's still low resolution. I don't know how to fix that. So it should only really change in the next era. Nothing has happened here in Istanbul either, although I am noticing that because there's not enough food to feed the population, they are starving and losing population. That's fucking hilarious. Now we are in the medieval era, and nothing changed. I think, actually, I was wrong. It only changes every 3 eras, which makes me look quite like an idiot. Thanks a lot, game. There's probably some minor changes you can denote between the medieval and ancient version of these buildings, but I can't see the difference, to be quite honest with you. It's their change is so small that it's hard to see. Okay, there you go. We finally have some change. So, since we've completed all the technologies in the medieval era, which really should mean that we're in the Renaissance era, but I think that the game is actually just putting us in the medieval era, because these do not look like Renaissance buildings to me. So you can notice that the buildings are a lot bigger. They've got more slopes on them now. Yeah, I think so. They look a lot. They just look generally bigger, I think, is the main issue. Also, you can see that the roads are finally have bridges. For some reason, it takes people until the fucking medieval era to learn how to make a bridge. You can also denote some changes made in Athens as well. Just ignore all this. The buildings are a lot taller again. They look a lot tougher too, and you can see a lot more like squares in there. I like the changes. They're very minor, but they help the game feel like they're actually progressing. And also, I'm fairly certain this is medieval architecture now. The Asian buildings seem to go from being very grayish to having a lot more white in them, which I think is a lot better. The grayish color is not my thing, but I don't know. Other than that, I think I see a couple new building designs. I don't know. It's hard to see in all the... I can't zoom in very well, so this is like the best I can get. As for the Middle Eastern ones... Ooh, I like this one a lot. You see a lot more globes and castle designs. I actually like this a lot. What the hell? Very colorful, too. You have some colorful buildings in there. Very nice. And here we are in the Americas. And you can see that the building designs have a lot more whites and highlights onto them. I like this design, too. I like this a lot. I think this is what I based the original buildings off of, actually, now that I think about it. We're starting to get some more prominent changes, although everything changes from here on out. And by the modern era, it's very boring, because I think by the modern era, all the buildings look the same. Now we are in the Renaissance era, or what the game calls the modern era, because we technically, in terms of the skill technology tree, we've hit the industrial era, but we only just finished all the Renaissance era buildings. So really, this is Renaissance era. Everything in this era looks like a chimney. Is this supposed to be industrial era buildings? I don't know. I can't tell, honestly. I mean, there were chimneys in the medieval and Renaissance era, so I'm not quite sure. But it's very bricky for industrial era, you know? And here we see Alexander again and his building style, or his the culture's building style, sorry. Now we're starting to get a little bit more homogenized, as you can see. The buildings went from looking very Greek to looking very more modernistic. You got a lot more squares in here. I think from here on out, everything seems to homogenize as the world turns into a, you know, globalist society. For a second there, I thought my game crashed, but we're lucky that it didn't. Japan, Asia still has all the roof designs from beforehand, but now they start to look like apartment complexes. You know what I'm saying? They look like neighborhood apartment complexes. It's very funny. I still like the design though. I still like it. It's very nice, very pleasing. I had to buff his population a bunch because we didn't get to see a lot of buildings because of how much it shrunk over time. But this era, it seems to really pop out. The domes have gotten massive now. Well, I'm seeing a couple of the designs have disappeared here. I still like it. As for the Americas, the building design seems to have become more metropolitan. You see what you know what I'm talking about? Like this looks like this building right here looks like something you'd see in Wall Street. I actually, you can't see my mouse cursor, so you have no clue what I'm talking about. Ha, joke's on you, bitch. All right, new era. Now we're in the modern era, baby. Look at that. That looks just like New York City. That's just New York City right there. Oh my god, it's beautiful. I love seeing that. Ah, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And of course, we have an ideology here. What will I pick? Fucking freedom, obviously, baby. God bless America. Boom. God bless. From here on out, all the buildings sort of like become like this. I'd say. Oh my god, what happened to Alexander? No, autocracy. But what happened to Alexander? Brother got colonized. It looks like a New York City, but orange. Yeah, I wasn't joking when I said all of the building designs sort of become homogenized near the end of the game. They all start to look like the same thing, but in different colors, which I find kind of sad, to be honest. In Japan's circle, I think Japan gets it the least bad, because this looks like a fucking retro-futuristic city, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be representing Tokyo, actually, now that I think about it. Interesting. But it looks more unique than Alexander's does, which looks like New York City. As for Suleiman, I also think that his isn't as bad as the other ones. It still keeps a lot of like the round dome designs that I like to see in his buildings. But yeah, you can see that they're starting to become Middle Eastern New York City. Crazy statement made just then. As for Brazil, Brazil looks fucking crazy. It looks like a green, it's more tubular, and it's very green. I like it a lot, actually. This is very fun to look at. Not sure how effective it would be as an actual city, but it's pretty cool. New era, new me, and I don't think a lot actually changed between this era and the other one. I think it's becoming more like modern New York City. I could definitely see a couple new buildings designs. I love this one, by the way. This looks like the Chrysler Tower. Chrysler Tower is one of my Is that what it's called? It's something like that. Is one of my favorite Art Deco buildings that ever got built. Art Deco as a style has fallen off in recent years, though. You won't see any buildings made out of that now. But I very much like the style of city design. I like it a lot. As for Alexander, it looks muddy. I think they're trying to keep the brick top sort of feeling from the ancient era, but it just doesn't work in the modern era. It makes every building look like it's dirty. What the fuck? Oh no. Oh no. And you can just see that it's basically just the American buildings again. I think there's a couple unique buildings in there somewhere, but it's hard to see. I don't know. I feel like it starts out good, but it gets disappointing very quickly. It's very sad. As for Japan, I don't think much changed. I think there's a couple new buildings. It looks a lot more teal now. I actually love the teal color. It's very cool. Very futuristic sci-fi. But I don't think a lot changed in between this era and the atomic. This is the atomic era, by the way. The same goes for Istanbul. I don't see a lot of changes here either. I think there's a couple new buildings, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. I'm starting to think that the jump between the industrial era and the modern era and the atomic era sort of just have like small increases in new buildings designs. Because I don't think there's as big of massive a jump as the Renaissance to industrial era. Jumping one era ahead, and I don't think anything has changed. I don't think there's a difference between this era and the atomic era. I don't think this game is like Civ 6 either. I don't think you get like a future era city design either. Moving then on to the final era, no. Things do not change. It stops, I think, at the modern era is where the building design stops. Because from here on out, the buildings look all the same. By the way, if you're wondering where everyone was, apparently Washington was over here. There was Attila who didn't have anything different. There was England who didn't have anything different. China who didn't have anything different. There's the Ottomans. There's Brazil. Wow, imagine playing that game as Brazil being right next to the Ottomans. That must be fun. Japan was over there. There was Alexander. Apparently Spain was up here. And yeah, that was everyone.